2015. Predatory gang stalking is a criminal phenomenon referring to a group of loosely affiliated people who, in an organized and symptomatic manner, relentlessly invade all areas of an individual's life on a continuing basis. While each individual gang stalker does his or her small part, what defines predatory gang stalking is the collective intent to do harm. Tactics of predatory gang stalking include highly coordinated surveillance, harassment, and psychological, psychosocial, financial and sometimes physical assaults on an individual by a large group of people who are often strangers to the targeted individual. Following the target whenever he or she leaves their home is probably the most common tactic of gang stalking. If the target leaves his or her home on foot, they are usually followed on foot, although other stalkers may be in vehicles as well. If the target leaves his or her home by car, the stalkers will follow in their own vehicles, often in well-coordinated groups who wait for the target's vehicle to pass by and then begin to follow. The criminals who engage in predatory gang stalking usually keep in constant touch with their handlers or managers via cell phone. Oftentimes the handlers know where the target is going ahead of time, based on previous activities by the target. One example of this might be a certain supermarket that the target often uses, so the handler or manager might station one of the group to be parked in the parking lot of that supermarket before the target even arrives. Another tactic used is overt surveillance as opposed to covert surveillance. Covert surveillance is a tactic often used by a single stalker who doesn't want his victim to know he is following him or her, and, in the supermarket example, the one-on-one or single stalker will park at a safe distance from where his target has parked, so the target will not know that he is there. Overt surveillance, on the other hand, is often the type of surveillance the predatory stalker will use. The predatory stalker wants the target to know he is there, as opposed to the single stalker who does not want his victim or target to know he is there. Overt surveillance is meant to add to the terror the target will feel, knowing that he or she is, indeed, being stalked by a total stranger. The predatory stalker will often back into a parking space very close to where the target is parked, and will sit in his vehicle with the lights on and motor running. Again, this is meant to increase the feeling of anxiety on the part of the target, because predatory stalkers want the target to know that he or she is, indeed, being stalked and harassed. Another common tactic used by predatory stalkers is to drive back and forth in front of the victim's home, oftentimes even honking his horn as he drives by, to let the victim know that he is there. It's also quite common for two or more predatory stalkers to drive by the victim's home, one right after the other, at fast speed, with little space between the vehicles, almost like a car chase. The tactics used by predatory stalkers today are very similar to the tactics used in the FBI's COINTELPRO program in the 1950s and 1960s. Well-orchestrated accusations, lies, rumors, bogus investigations, setups, framings, intimidation, overt or covert threats, vandalism, thefts, sabotage, humiliation, emotional terror and general harassment